He was 25 years old when he broke ground on his first hotel. Not with family money, not with investors. With $2 million he made flipping between 7 different jobs and betting everything on crypto and stocks. Most people thought he was insane. Borrowing another $1 million to build a hotel with zero hospitality experience? Career suicide. But he had studied every luxury resort, every boutique hotel, every guest complaint for 3 years, and he knew exactly what travelers were desperate for but couldn't find. 5 years later, he owns 25 hotels across the country. $50 million hospitality empire. This is how a 19-year-old dishwasher became a hotel mogul by age 30, and the exact blueprint he used that works in any industry. His name was Ethan Rivera, and at 19, he had a problem most teenagers don't think about. He was broke and directionless. He had just finished high school in Miami, Florida. No college plans, no clear career path, no safety net. His single mom worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. His friends were either heading to universities or stuck in dead-end retail jobs. Ethan was different. He didn't want a traditional path. He wanted wealth, real wealth, the kind that buys freedom. But he had zero capital, zero connections, and zero idea how to get there. What he did have was a smartphone, an obsessive personality, and a willingness to work jobs nobody else wanted. So in the summer of 2015, Ethan made a decision that would change his life. He would work any job that paid, live on almost nothing, and invest every spare dollar into assets that could grow. No parties, no new clothes, no eating out, just work, save, invest, repeat. For the next 6 years, Ethan became a job nomad. But here's what nobody knew, and I'll reveal exactly what he discovered at age 23 that changed his entire strategy. From age 19 to 25, Ethan worked 7 different jobs. Not because he couldn't hold a job, because he was optimizing for cash flow and flexibility. Job 1, dishwasher at a luxury hotel. $11 per hour plus tips from catering events. He worked night shifts, 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., 4 nights a week. This job did 2 critical things. 1, it gave him $1,800 per month in income. 2, it gave him access to luxury hospitality. He watched everything, how guests moved through spaces, what they complained about, what made them smile, how staff operated, what worked, and what failed. He took mental notes constantly. Job 2, weekend valet driver at an upscale restaurant. $9 per hour plus $200 to $400 in tips per weekend. Ethan worked Friday and Saturday nights, 5 p.m. to midnight. Total monthly income, $1,400. But more importantly, he drove Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bentleys. He talked to wealthy people. He learned their language, their habits, their mindset. Job 3, weekday construction laborer. $16 per hour, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Hard physical work, but high pay for someone with no degree. Monthly income, $2,560. This job taught him about building, materials, project management, and discipline. Job 4, overnight security guard at a warehouse. $13 per hour, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., Wednesday through Saturday. Monthly income, $2,080. The best part? He could study investing and read business books during quiet hours. Job 5, retail associate at an electronics store. $12 per hour plus commission. Weekend mornings before valet shifts. Monthly income, $960. He learned sales psychology and customer service. Job 6, food delivery driver for Uber Eats and DoorDash. Flexible hours, filled gaps between other jobs. Monthly income, $800 to $1,200 depending on hours. Job 7, weekend warehouse picker during holiday seasons. $18 per hour, overtime available. Seasonal income boost, $3,000 to $5,000 during November and December. Let's do the math. Ethan was pulling in between $9,600 and $11,000 per month, working 70 to 80 hours per week. Most people would burn out. Ethan thrived. Why? Because he had a plan, a 6-year plan. And in year 3, something happened that I'll tell you about in exactly 4 minutes that multiplied his money faster than he ever imagined. Year 1, survival and systems. Ethan's first year was brutal. He lived in a 200-square-foot studio apartment in a rough neighborhood. Rent $650 per month. He ate rice, beans, chicken, and eggs. Grocery budget $180 per month. No car, he used a bicycle and public transportation. Phone bill $40. Utilities $60. Total monthly expenses $930. Monthly income average $10,000. Amount saved and invested $9,070 per month. Yes, 90% savings rate. In year one, Ethan saved and invested $108,840. But where did he put it? He had been studying investing obsessively for 18 months. YouTube videos, podcasts, Reddit forums, books. He learned about index funds, dividend stocks, growth stocks, and cryptocurrency. His strategy was aggressive. 40% into ETFs, broad market index funds, safe and steady. 30% into individual growth stocks, companies like Tesla, Amazon, Shopify. 30% into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and Ethereum mainly. He wasn't gambling. He was calculated. He bought during dips. He held through volatility. He never panic sold. Year 2, acceleration and discipline. By year 2, Ethan had $108,000 invested and working for him. But he didn't slow down. He kept the same brutal schedule, the same extreme savings rate. Year 2, savings and investments, $112,000. Total invested by end of year 2, $220,000. But here's what happened. The market rewarded him. His $108,000 from year 1 had grown to approximately $147,000, a 36% return thanks to a bull market in tech stocks and crypto. Total portfolio value end of year, $367,000. At 21 years old, Ethan had more money than most people twice his age. But he kept living like he was broke. Year 3, the breakthrough I promised you. In early 2018, Ethan made a decision that would change everything. He had been watching cryptocurrency closely. Bitcoin was around $6,000, down from its $19,000 high in late 2017. Everyone was saying crypto was dead. Ethan saw opportunity. He took $80,000 of his portfolio and went heavy into Bitcoin and Ethereum. People thought he was insane. But Ethan had studied market cycles. He knew fear creates opportunity. By late 2020, Bitcoin hit $29,000. Ethereum exploded from $150 to $1,800. His $80,000 crypto position had become $620,000. Combined with his continued savings and stock portfolio growth, his total net worth by age 23 was $1.1 million. Year 4, crossing the millionaire threshold. Ethan was 23 years old and a millionaire, but he didn't change his lifestyle. He still worked multiple jobs, still lived in a small apartment, still saved 85% of his income. Why? Because he had a bigger vision. He didn't just want money, he wanted a business, an empire. He just didn't know what yet. That year, he saved another $95,000 from his income. His investments continued growing. Crypto had another run. Stocks performed well. By age 24, his portfolio was worth $1.87 million, and then it hit him. The idea that would define his next chapter. Year 5, the vision crystallizes. Ethan was 24 when he realized what he wanted to build. Hotels, but not traditional hotels. He had spent 5 years working in and around hospitality. He had seen the problems. Problem 1, most hotels felt identical. Soulless corporate lobbies, identical rooms, zero personality. Problem 2, travelers wanted experiences, not just beds. They wanted connection to nature, privacy, unique design. Problem 3, boutique hotels were either too small and unprofitable or too expensive to build and operate. Ethan saw a gap. What if you could build a hotel that combined boutique luxury with operational efficiency, a hybrid model? A 15-story main building for core operations, reception, restaurant, spa, conference rooms. But surrounding it, 30 to 50 private villa-style rooms, 1- and 2-story standalone units, nestled in landscaped gardens, each with ocean or nature views, premium pricing for privacy and exclusivity. This model would offer guests choice, Want affordable and convenient? Book the main tower. Want luxury and privacy? Book a villa. Operational efficiency plus premium revenue. Genius. Year 6. The leap of faith. At 25, Ethan had $2.1 million in liquid assets. He could retire, live comfortably forever. Instead, he decided to risk everything. He found a property, 8 acres of coastal land in South Carolina. Purchase price $650,000. Construction costs for his hybrid hotel design, approximately $2.5 million. Total project cost $3.15 million. He had $2.1 million. He needed $1.05 million more. Banks laughed at him. 25 years old, zero hospitality experience, first-time developer? Rejected. So Ethan got creative. He took out personal loans $120,000 at 8% interest. He maxed out business credit cards $80,000. He borrowed from family and friends $200,000, offering 10% annual returns. He found 2 private lenders willing to fund $650,000 in exchange for 15% equity in the hotel. Total raised $1.05 million. Ethan was all in. If this failed, he would lose everything. Construction began in March. Ethan managed the entire project himself. He negotiated with contractors, sourced materials, handled permits, designed interiors. He worked 16-hour days, 7 days a week. Budget overruns hit immediately. Permitting delays, unexpected site issues, material cost inflation. The $2.5 million budget became $3.1 million. Ethan burned through his contingency fund. He took another $150,000 in personal loans. He was drowning in stress. By month 11, the hotel was 80% complete, but Ethan was broke. He had $7,000 left in his bank account. Opening day was 6 weeks away. If bookings didn't come, he was finished. The hotel opened in February, 14 months after breaking ground. Total investment, $3.8 million. $2.1 million of his own money, $1.7 million borrowed. He named it Coastal Haven Resort. The design was stunning. A modern 15-story main tower with 60 rooms, 35 private villas, 1- and 2-story units with full glass walls, private terraces, garden paths, lush landscaping, palm trees, tropical plants, walking trails, direct ocean views from 70% of rooms, on-site restaurant with local cuisine, small spa and fitness center, infinity pool overlooking the water. Opening week, 18 rooms booked. Ethan panicked. Month 2, 31 rooms booked. Month 3, 58 rooms booked. What happened? Instagram. Guests started posting photos. The villas looked like paradise. Private, luxurious, surrounded by nature but steps from amenities. Travel influencers discovered it. One post from an influencer with 400,000 followers went viral. 2.1 million views. Suddenly, Coastal Haven was the destination. By month 6, fully booked 4 months in advance. Average daily rate $280 for tower rooms, $520 for villas. Let's break down year 1 financials. Total rooms, 95, 60 tower plus 35 villas. Average occupancy rate 76%. Tower rooms, $280 per night, 60 rooms, 76% occupancy, 365 days equals $4.67 million. Villas, $520 per night, 35 rooms, 82% occupancy, 365 days equals $5.41 million. Restaurant and spa revenue, $890,000. Total year 1 revenue, $11 million. Operating expenses, staff, utilities, maintenance, marketing, approximately $6.2 million. Debt service, loan payments, approximately $720,000 annually. Net profit year 1, $4.08 million. Ethan, at 26 years old, had built a hotel that generated $4 million in profit in its first year, but he wasn't satisfied. He wanted to scale. Year 2, the replication strategy. Ethan took $2.5 million of his year 1 profit and did 2 things. 1, he paid off the highest interest personal loans and credit cards. 2, he started scouting location. 2, he found another coastal property in North Carolina. Same model, 15-story tower plus private villas. But this time, he had proof of concept. Banks still said no, but private investors said yes. He raised $2.2 million from 3 investors in exchange for 20% equity in the second property. He put in $1.3 million of his own capital. Hotel 2 opened 16 months later. Year 3, the empire accelerates. With 2 profitable hotels, Ethan had credibility. He developed a standardized playbook, property criteria, coastal or scenic locations, 6 to 10 acres, proximity to tourist destinations or business hubs, design template, 12 to 15-story main tower, 30 to 50 private villas, lush landscaping, water features, premium amenities, target demographics, couples seeking romantic getaways, families wanting space and privacy, digital nomads needing workation spaces, corporate retreats. Pricing model: tower rooms $240 to $320, villas $480 to $650, ancillary revenue from dining, spa, events. Construction costs $2.8 to $3.5 million per property. ROI target, 3-year payback period. He opened 4 more hotels in year 3. Locations: Georgia Coast, Florida Panhandle, Virginia Beach, Outer Banks, North Carolina. Financing model evolved. For each new property, Ethan contributed 30 to 40% equity, raised 40 to 50% from private investors, financed 10 to 20% through commercial loans. By end of year 3, Ethan owned 6 hotels, generating combined $68 million in annual revenue. Year 4, systematization and team building. Ethan couldn't manage 6 properties alone. He hired a corporate team: CEO of operations, former Marriott regional manager, CFO, hospitality finance specialist, VP of development, real estate and construction expert, marketing director, digital marketing and brand building, regional managers, 1 per hotel, total corporate team, 22 people. He also standardized operations: central reservation system, property management software, shared vendor contracts for linens, toiletries, food, standardized training programs, brand guidelines for consistent guest experience. Year 4, he opened 8 more hotels. Total portfolio, 14 properties, combined annual revenue, $142 million. Year 5, the $50 million empire. This year, Ethan is 30 years old. He owns 25 hotels across 12 states. Let's break down the empire. Total properties, 25 hotels. Total rooms, 2,375, mix of tower rooms and villas. Average occupancy rate, 81%. Average daily rate, $360 across all properties. Annual room revenue, 2,375 rooms times $360 times 365 days times 81% occupancy equals $252 million. Ancillary revenue, restaurants, spas, events, conferences equals $48 million. Total annual revenue, $300 million. Operating expenses and debt service, approximately $210 million. Net profit, approximately $90 million annually. But here's the key. Ethan owns 60 to 70% equity across all properties. His personal net worth from the hotel portfolio alone, approximately $180 million based on industry valuation multiples. But his take-home from operations, approximately $50 to $60 million per year after investor payouts. At 30 years old, Ethan Rivera is worth over $200 million. So what can you learn from Ethan's story? Whether you're interested in hospitality or not, these principles apply to any industry. Lesson 1. Extreme savings create extreme options. Ethan saved 90% of his income for 6 years. That discipline bought him freedom. Application: every dollar you don't spend is a dollar working for your future. Live below your means obsessively. Lesson 2. Multiple income streams accelerate wealth. Ethan didn't rely on one job. He stacked 7 income sources simultaneously. Application: diversify your income. Side hustles, freelancing, gig economy. Stack them. Lesson 3, invest aggressively when you're young. Ethan put everything into growth assets, stocks, and crypto. High risk, but high reward. Application, time is your biggest advantage. Take calculated risks early. Lesson 4, work in the industry you want to dominate. Ethan spent 5 years in hospitality learning before building. Application, get paid to learn. Work in your target industry first. Lesson 5, find the gap in the market. Ethan saw what travelers wanted but couldn't find. Boutique luxury with variety and value. Application, study your industry's complaints. Build the solution. Lesson 6, prove concept before scaling. Ethan built one hotel, proved it worked, then replicated. Application, test small, prove profitability, then scale aggressively. Lesson 7, use other people's money strategically. Ethan raised $1.7 million for his first hotel, then used profits and investors to fund 24 more. Application leverage accelerates growth. Use it wisely. Ethan Rivera didn't have rich parents funding his dream. He didn't have an MBA or hospitality degree. He didn't have connections or a safety net. He had 5 things: discipline, delayed gratification, obsessive learning, calculated risk-taking, and relentless execution. At 19, he was a dishwasher making $11 per hour. At 25, he was a millionaire breaking ground on his first hotel. At 30, he owns 25 hotels and a $200 million net worth. His story isn't about hotels. It's about what happens when you refuse to accept the life society designs for you and build your own. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You need discipline, vision, and the courage to risk everything. Ethan took his first step washing dishes at a luxury hotel, watching, learning, planning. What's your first step? What job are you working right now that's teaching you how to build an empire? A small step is the beginning of a big story.